Boom, we are pre-recorded today, ladies and gentlemen. It is a beautiful Friday, March 15th at approximately 8:55 a.m. here in Costa Rica, and I hope you are having a wonderful time. I want to thank you all for joining us this fine day. It means a great deal to me. I had a wonderful time on my birthday last week. That's where I had been. I am now 32, 32, as they say here in Espanol. It was a fantastic time. I really appreciate all the heartfelt messages, everything that you guys sent my way. I can't express ever enough gratitude, I think, for how much the Bear family means to me. But with that in mind, it's been a wild week. Bitcoin's price has stayed relatively stable, but there have been a lot of things that have been taking place geopolitically that are lining us up for some of the pitfalls that we believe will eventually move us into the bull market. Now, I do believe that we are still currently going to be teeter-tottering down the negative slope in the bear markets, and will likely continue somewhere into the beginning of 2020, or at least that's the end of the bear markets, and noticeably so. So with that in mind, let's take a look at where we are today, where we hope to be, and we'll also dive in. We'll take a look at Litecoin, and we'll take a look at a few others. I know you guys have been asking in the Telegram channel to take a look at a few coins, so we will do that tomorrow because there's a lot of work for us to catch up on. So right from the get-go, we're just going to dive right in. One of the things that I always like to do is take a look at a few of the key indicators to what I think Bitcoin's price will move off of the same way it did last year. Now, the Dow dumps into red. Yeah, we had seen that before. And as well here, it says number 437, reason 437 to own gold is the Fed wants negative interest rates. Now, these are actually some of the ideas that we've been watching in the previous years as to why I believe Bitcoin's price had spiked so sharply. We had seen negative interest rates around the world start to take over. We had seen very dovish statements from the Fed on the ability to try to raise those interest rates just I guess halves of a basis point, essentially quarters of a basis point, which is negligible essentially. We've seen a lot of great movement in the markets right now. I'm looking at Raven. Raven just jumped up 13% today. So I want to stay focused here before we dive into the rest of the ideas. But essentially what I'm looking at here is the DXY. This is the dollar index chart. We've shown this chart quite a few times before, and my interest in the dollar here is the relationship from the dollar to Bitcoin. Now, a lot of people think that a stock market crash would be positive for Bitcoin, and I actually largely disagree with that because Bitcoin has nothing to do with the stock market. Now, although a lot of people think, oh, if the stock market goes down, they're going to start to run to another asset class, but that's not the case either. Negative sentiments in the global markets as a whole will push every sentimental market down. Now, what I'm really interested to see here is what happens to the dollar next. We've hit what seems to be almost a triple top. On the previous testings from October 2015, you have April 2015, you have December 2000, and February, December 2016, 17, right in the curve of the year there, and then now where we are in 2019. We've actually stubbed up against this area a few times, and as we start to lose pressure, the big question is going to be, does the dollar collapse or does the stock market collapse? Now, my guess now, and I've been teeter-tottering between these two ideas, and I'll explain my reasoning for that teeter of totters, is the relationship between the dollar and Bitcoin, or the stock market and Bitcoin, is very, very different. If the dollar starts to crash or the interest rates start to release, if they start to do quantitative easing again, that is hugely positive for Bitcoin. But if the stock market starts to crash, unbeknownst to most people, I believe that that's actually negative for Bitcoin's price movement, especially because it is perceived as a commodity in the general trader's eyes, much like other commodities. Now, the Bitcoin platform and code itself is originally designed to replace the fiat money system. That's why they were calling it a type of electronic digital cash, one that cannot be centralized, controlled, changed, manipulated. Very, very valuable and useful functions to have in a money system. But if the markets in the stocks start to collapse, I think we're going to see most of that money rush back to fiat, the essential stable coin of the day for most people. And that's an extremely important part to keep an eye on. So here, just this last week, we've actually been breaking up over this area. Actually, I can zoom in here, probably get a little bit of a clearer picture. Maybe we can see it on the day chart here, I think, even as well. Yes, there we go. So here on the daily chart, on the DXY, the dollar index chart, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cuts through right at this 97-point mark. This is a very crucial area to keep an eye on, and it's very, very important. Over the next few months, I think, and what I believe is going to happen is one of two things. Either the dollar is going to fall and the markets, the stock markets, the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, those will continue to rise under the falling weight of the dollar, or the other possibility is the strengthening of the dollar and the falling of the stock market. Again, where most people would run likely back to the stable currency, or at least somewhat known as the US dollar. I'm keeping a close eye on this area because this, I believe, is what will change the price sentiments as we move forward. All the good news that we're receiving in Bitcoin, the blockchain, all the crypto and altcoin space is essentially doing nothing to our overall market cap. If we dive into CoinGecko, we're still sitting around 136 billion, just not that far away from the 110, 120 billion we had dropped down to in the previous lows before. So if we go out, let's see, not coin dominance, overall market cap for the last 90 days. We'll let that load. I believe I'm having a little bit of an internet difficulties. Hey, living in the jungle, one or two things I like and sometimes one or two things I don't. We'll go back, we'll take a look at the Bitcoin chart and hope that it loads here. Beautiful, it did. Thank God for fast internet here. I'm going to actually zoom in a little closer so we have a much better picture. I'm not interested in Bitcoin's price here yet at all. I'm still sitting in the same triangle that we had been watching for the last month evolve, essentially. We've been hovering around the 3,900 to the $4,000 area. Again, this has become a very key point of resistance and support before each breakdown, or I guess in that case for the break up. A lot of people would like to say, oh, it's a bull market move. No, bull markets are entirely different. They are related to a much longer format scenario. You don't enter a bull market until you have multiple quarters of growth, whereas here we've been in a bear market, we have multiple quarters of decline, and it's continued that way. And I do really consider the fact that this is another year in process of the bear market decline. So again, the reason I watch these things daily is because there's a lot of really cool stuff going on. Again, if we take a look at Ravencoin, which is just on fire right now, it's jumped up to 751 Satoshis. It's making its nice wave. We had over a 300% move on it, so it had been cooling down. Shout out to all the Bear family who had enjoyed that ride while I was taking my birthday week off. That was a beautiful explosion of price. I do believe I'm a fan of Ravencoin, and I will continue to be a fan of Ravencoin over the next, well, we'll keep an eye on it closely, but there's just a lot of interest in this space from Majiji Ventures, Patrick Bryan, Overstock, and a few other big players in the game. So Raven and a few others we've been keeping a close eye on. Flow was actually one of the tokens as well that the Bear family had put into the watch den. So we've been keeping an eye on that. We had a nice big price spike up from around 1,000 to 2,000. So we almost had a 100% move, or just over 100% move in the previous weeks leading up from the 2nd of March up until the 9th of March. So again, this market is fun to play in. And this is what we're getting to now. I'm in the bear cave, the birthday's over, the festival's over, everyone's gone, I'm getting back into planting because rainy season is right around the corner. We're going to be opening up the newsletter and I'm going to start trading again. The reason I would like to do this is because it's entirely amusing for me, and I do like doing things that I find entertaining. I don't just trade because I like to make money, although that is a great improvement and benefit of the whole deal itself, but I actually like doing this stuff because I enjoy doing it. I enjoy all the colorful charts and all the wingdings and wong longers. I don't know, what is this, Bollinger Bands? I just say nonsense sometimes, don't I? It's been a great week, ladies and gentlemen. Tio and his new words. So I like this stuff. I like all the random learning, the growth that can take place. I like the fact that we're trying to logically understand people's emotions. I myself, is sometimes a very emotionally volatile human being, and I'm actually very, very interested in this logical kind of understanding of why or how emotions work on a global or even community-based level. It's very, very intriguing information for me, and it's one of the reasons why I continue to show up. So we'll take a look at the other top coins. Again, Ethereum here, I suspect there's a lot more room for downside. It really really depends. We saw these beautiful spikes from the $80 to the $160 range, having again another 100% move over the last months. But we see that in this entire market. So for those that can pick the bottoms, or at least some of the bouncy bottoms that happen to exist, this is a very, very fun place to play. Litecoin currently sitting around $57. It broke up to that $60 area that I had thought that it might, which was nice. I had put no bets on it yet, but again, we just broke up right over that last previous line that I was looking into, and we've been consolidating. Again, we're lower on the RSI here than we were from that previous jump up. So I do suspect we'll see a point bring us down. Now, what brings us down in the market, I'm not entirely sure, but as we've seen in the past, when we're watching on CoinGecko or any of the other, I love CoinGecko, so who cares? There's no other one as far as I'm concerned. But when we watch the markets as a whole, I think what's noticeable is that when Bitcoin moves, everybody else follows. And that's important. The reason that's important is because we're trying to follow trends. We're trying to follow the emotional, logical aspects of those trends and place our investments into particular assets, whether we're swing trading. I don't day trade, although I have done that in the past. And like I said, that is a very, it's a very emotional, adrenaline-based rush. I don't usually like to do that because of all of the emotion that gets involved. I like the slower swing trade, which is what we had done with Raven. We had done that a little bit with Flow over the last little while. Enter positions, take profits, move back into Bitcoin, depending on what Bitcoin's doing, maybe sit in true USD or something like this. Go back to fiat, build another business, buy some more property, who knows, whatever it might be. I want you to continually invest in your assets, whether it's your charisma, your personal development, and these are your most important assets. These are the ones that no bank can take away from you. Your family, your wealth, your richness is not decided by your pocketbook. It is a choice for you to appreciate what it is you already have, and I cannot express that any more clearly, I do not think. This is Tio with the Arcane Bear. Smash that thumbs up button, 2019 style, or however you choose to double click your mouse. Please subscribe if you have not yet and you enjoy this content. If you don't enjoy this content, you don't have to subscribe. I don't really care. You can go somewhere else, and I hope you find what you're looking for. Join the Telegram channel in the links below. We have a beautiful Bear family community that's been growing since day one, full of very intelligent, very compassionate, very kind, and very supportive individuals who are there to help answer your questions. As again, I said, we will be opening the newsletter at the end of this month. So for those of you that signed up this month, we'll just roll you over into next month. Again, I apologize for that. I was dancing around with a bunch of half-naked hippies in the jungle this last week because we have a 4,000-person electronic music festival that's around 15 minutes south of me. So I'm re-screwing my brain back together before we dive into our regular Bear scheduling. This is Tio again, one more time. Thank you, Bear family, so much. I love you deeply. We'll see you guys on the other side.